All right. This looks better. Amazing. Stop what? Oh my gosh. I do not see myself streaming. I'm so sorry, guys. If you're sitting here staring at me looking like a crazy person. Terrible. Oh, Lord. All right, it says I'm live. Okay, here we go. All right, we're gonna run with it. It says I'm live. I'm gonna just share my screen and go for it. If I have to save this, send this to you later, I will. But we are gonna go for it. Here we go. Here we go. I've got to use a different service. Okay, so just in case you've been following, I have like this issue every week now with the streaming, and I don't know what the problem is. I will fix it before next week. Nobody else seems to have the same crazy issue that I've been having. Because I talked to somebody else this morning and they're using the same service and they're like, no, I'm not having any problems. So let's see. This says was live. All right, I'm going to check one more time. Just because I'm crazy. Live. Okay. All right, worst case, I will send it up. All right, we're going. We're going. Building resilience. 5 exercises to bounce back stronger than ever. All right, so I hate starting my things like this because it gets me out of my mood. Sorry. I will get there in a second. So what we're talking about today is bouncing back when you have issues like this. So you want to be able to bring yourself back to the moment and get into the same type of groove again. So if this is something that goes on in your life, so think about this, both personal and business. A lot of stuff does not go the way we want it to go. True or false? Right? So how many days do you have something that isn't going the way you want it to go? My guess is almost every day something is going to go the way you didn't want it to go. So if that is true, then if that is true, then you want to do whatever you can in your power to make sure that that you bounce back quickly, better than what I'm doing right now, right? No, but a couple of minutes is not a big deal. But especially if you're live, you need to do it a little bit quicker. So I'm so distracted because I cannot tell if I'm live or not. So sorry. We are moving on. All right. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how fast do you bounce back after a setback? I have a very depends, but most of the time I would say I bounce back pretty quickly for the average normal stuff in life. If it's something massive, I compartmentalize a lot and maybe I just blow over it where I should probably process more. Example, I've lost both of my parents in the past 10 years. If you ever follow me, you probably know that. And did I bounce back? Is that something that you bounce back from? I'm not really sure. You have to move forward one way or the other, right? So building our resilience to things like that. And in my world and in my life, I have, I guess the way I was brought up was to, grin and bear it and just keep going. And in a loving way. My family did not waste time on the small stuff. One of my mom's biggest things was no regrets, live life to the fullest. And so even when it's a big, big thing, I do have a way of being able to compartmentalize it a little bit. Whether that's the best thing or not, I'm not going to necessarily say, but I can bounce back and get right back into the groove. Am I at full force? I do, looking back, think that maybe I've been in a fog for several years. So I would not say that I bounced back, but I did get right back in the groove. So think about what kind of things you're going to have, levels, of things, maybe not quite so big. Some things are bigger than others. One way or the other, I can think of some horrible, horrible tragedies. A girlfriend of mine lost one of her sons. Well, she has three other, sons. So, or three other children. So what are you going to do? You have to bounce back, even if you necessarily don't feel like it, because you have, these other children, your husband, life still goes on, and you still need to get back into life. So there are, obviously, that would be one of the worst of the worst. And then, an everyday, messing up a Zoom clearly pales in comparison. And we need to remind ourselves of that, right? And I like to say the word baby rage, if you've ever heard of it, me say that. But basically what I mean is like throwing a little bit of a fit when something happens. And we're all allowed to do it every now and then, but you need to be able to get back. So we need to build that, especially as entrepreneurs. This is why, I will be honest with you, this is why being an entrepreneur is not for everybody, because most people cannot do this. We need to build those muscles. We need to do it on a daily basis. And I have heard a couple of entrepreneurs that I know say, well, my circumstances are different. I have all of these extra problems that you don't have. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what your problems are and how they're different from mine. We all have to bounce back. And maybe, if you have more problems than I do, maybe it takes you more to bounce back, but that means you need to work harder on building that resilience. Life is not fair. In a nutshell, life is not fair. My brother was just born smarter than me. It's just, I'm very smart, but was I as smart as him? Nope. So to study, to get the same grade in school, he could totally, blow it off, whereas I had to study. Was that fair? No. But if we wanted the same grade, it's what life is all about. It is what it is. And so the same thing goes with this. If you have more issues or more problems or more things than I do, it doesn't matter, because we're both entrepreneurs. We both have businesses to run, and we both need to get it done. So if you have to, spend 2 hours in the morning as opposed to an hour in the morning going through whatever it is that you go through to build your resilience, then that's what you need to do. And you need to prioritize that, because in a business, how fast we can bounce back matters a lot to our bottom line, to our survival, our thriving, everything. All right. So on a scale of 1 to 10 right now, how fast can you, that should say do you bounce back after a setback? Did you know that according to recent studies, resilient individuals are not only more successful, but also happier and more satisfied with their lives? Can you imagine why? I mean, think about this. If you can bounce back and get into the swing of things, you feel so much better. Like, I have no idea if I'm live, and I already feel better because I'm already taking action and in the groove, right? It makes you feel better, more satisfied. You're happier. I'm already instantly happier because I'm taking action and I'm moving. And obviously more successful because I did not let it stop me. The show must go on. And that's what it is, right? All right, so let the games begin. If you know me, I am super cheesy. I love acronyms. I keep forgetting to introduce myself in these things, but I'm not going to give you a whole big rundown. But I am super cheesy, and I like to do acronyms. So let the games begin means we are about to start our first acronym. So B is the first acronym. B, belief systems. Our belief systems come from when we're babies, from, our parents, the people around us, our culture, where we grew up, how we grew up, our first job, our first boss, every single thing around you helps to form those belief systems. With that said, belief does not mean fact. Our beliefs are not facts. It's what we have decided to believe based on our environment and the things that people say and tell us. They're not facts. So the ones that do not serve you, for example, if I keep telling myself, oh God, I'm such a procrastinator, that is not a belief that serves me. It's not. I don't want to have that belief. I don't want to be a procrastinator. So how am I going to start flipping that around and changing that belief about myself? Well, I'm going to start taking action. Eat the Frog. Has anybody ever read it? I'm going to start doing things right away. Maybe I'm going to put a rubber band around my wrist, and every time I procrastinate, I'm going to snap it to remind myself, snap out of it, get in action. There are a lot of ways to work on your limiting beliefs, but think about, let's go through a couple of them real quick. And this is the activity that I would love for you to do as soon as this is over. So here's a limiting belief. I'm not experienced enough to tackle this challenge. The one I actually hear all the time is, I'm not experienced enough to call myself a coach, to sell these services for X price. Are you resonating with me? Are you resonating? So tell me in the chat if that's something that you have experienced below. I know imposter syndrome is something big that everybody has experienced. So flip the script, figure out how to make it the opposite. Every expert was once a beginner. True. My willingness to learn and adapt is my greatest strength in facing new challenges. Also true, right? Or one that I like even a little bit better. I've been doing, X, like say you are a relationship coach. I have been coaching people in relationships in some form or fashion for the last 30 years. It totally applies here. I actually am not new. I have 20 plus years of experience. How can you flip that script, right? It does not mean that in this particular thing, think about this. If you want to go and get a new job, do you bring your resume with you and say, I've got all these years of experience that I will now apply towards this job? Or do you say, hey, I'm going to get a new job and nothing I've ever done matters, and I'm just new and I am not experienced enough for any other job because I have no experience? That's crazy town. So why we do that to ourselves when we come into a new position, a new space. And I particularly work a lot with entrepreneurs and coaches, and it's the Wild West. There are no rules. There are no people telling you what to do. And so as soon as people get into this position, they feel a little bit lost and a little bit like everything is new. But it's not. I mean, yes, there are plenty of new things and they're all great, but you're bringing in whatever you have in the past. And again, bring the things in that serve you. Flip that script on the things that don't serve you. We want to definitely do that too. I think I did one more. Yeah. So, I didn't rewrite it. Did I on the next one? It was doing it alone. I have to do everything by myself because nobody else can do it like I can. So the flip the script was collaboration and seeking support amplify my potential and lead to greater success. I'm stronger with a team. And this is funny, but I heard this the other day about our dream. And if your dream only includes you, it's because you are not dreaming big enough. If you've read, I'm reading, I forget the name of the book, some goal achievement book I'm reading right now, right? And one of the things that they say in there is, you're going to need people behind you, in front of you, around you. You're going to need people around you to complete that dream. And remember, if you're here and you want to be here, how are you going to get there? And this is what I always tell my coaches. If you're in this sea of sameness and you want to be up here, What is it that you're going to do? What I help coaches do is I help them turn themselves into thought leaders. That's when we can come up here, because not all these coaches are thought leaders, right? They're not all thought leaders, but I help them become thought leaders through their authentic branding, their messaging, right? Being themselves, putting themselves out there, showing up, and then strategic growth, certain ways that we do it, so that they can get a consistent flow of clients coming in. So they're not going on that roller coaster up and down. So they can start building that belief in themselves and what they have going on. It's a big problem. A lot of coaches come on and they'll get like a client or two, or some here, some there, but they do not have a consistent stream of clients. If that's you, give me a consistent down below. I mean, if you do not have a consistent stream of clients, give me a consistent down below. It's important, right? And none of us, almost none of us, love the whole, oh my God, I could get on the phone and cold call 28 people in the next 20 seconds type of sales. Most of us don't like that, right? So learning how to do it in a way that's comfortable to you, that doesn't even feel like we're selling, and that gets people coming to you rather than you going to them. I love that. Okay, I went off on a tangent. Next one. What belief about resilience do you hold that could be transformed to empower you more effectively? Again, write down one of your limiting beliefs. Write it down. I would say, sit there, put a 5-minute timer on, and see if you can do 2 columns on a page and write limiting belief and then flip the script. And if all you get are your limiting beliefs, then put another 5-minute timer on and do your flip the scripts. Get as many of those done as possible. And now start telling yourself these things, because this is truth. This is not. Your limiting beliefs are not truth. They may be what you're doing at the moment, but they are not your truth. They are just what happens to be at this moment. Do you get what I'm saying? All right, reflective practice. You like the little picture? Yeah, geez. Reflective practice. This is ding, 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 ding. The second letter, R. Reflective practice, R. All right, so the value of reflection in what we're doing, and it is powerful. It's kind of like, did you ever exercise when you were younger and totally blow off the stretching? I used to do that, right? But the older you get, the more you realize how valuable that stretching is. Before, after, when you're not even exercising, that stretching becomes very, very valuable, just to reaching for stuff in your cabinets, sitting all day long, all of it. So what about the value of reflection? So when you reflect, you can now take better action on where you want to go. So the second one over there is, now you're going to have some decisions. Once you reflect, you're going to say, okay, what did I do? And now let's analyze, was that a great path? Do I need to pivot, or do I need to go this other route? What is it that I need to do? You will not know that until you start reflecting. Example. Here's a quick example. I am now reflecting on the way I am going live, and I'm not liking it one bit. So after this live, I'm going to go back and decide, I don't like this method. Either I need to figure it out how this restream is working with this. I need to use one stream instead of restream. I need to, I cannot seem to be able to fix my Zoom as many people as I've spoken to on Zoom, but I need to fix something, right? So I'm in that reflection point. I now know that there's some other way that I need to go. And then I'm going to figure out, okay, here are my ways that I can go. I can either go back to Zoom and not be able to go live where I want to go live. Probably not the best option. I can keep going to Restream and have these things where I don't even know if I'm live. Not a great option. Or the third one is figure it out. I'm going with the figure it out. So next week when I come on, this will be a little bit better. All right, so techniques of effective reflection. If you're watching this later and I happen to cut that whole first part off, just know that I had some problems at the beginning. All right, techniques of effective reflection. So meditation. This is another thing that we are not great at as entrepreneurs either. I was talking to somebody who targets people with ADHD. And I started laughing and I said, isn't that next to the definition of an entrepreneur? We're all a little bit wild and crazy and, thrive on that chaos a little bit. So sitting down and meditating is not something that comes easy to us. However, if you read books like I do, listen to audios or podcasts or whatever it is, then you probably understand and know where you get the most clarity and creativity comes in those quiet moments. So if you're not planning out quiet moments in your schedule, you need to be. And okay, I'm not just talking about the shower, because yes, that is one of my favorite places for some great ideas. I'm talking about in your schedule during the day, plan out some time when you can sit there with yourself, meditate, sit in quiet. I have a balcony, I'll pull a chair out there and just kind of hang out for a little while. No music, nothing to do. Very difficult for somebody like me, but that helps a lot because you get in your thoughts. When you're exercising, I'm always listening to podcasts. But what if you could take 10 minutes of that time? That's probably all I could handle. And just be quiet in your thoughts. It's really, really super productive. So the top right one is obviously journaling. Also, excuse me, is also very productive if you can journal. I was listening to somebody who is definitely seven-figure, if not more, earner. And he was saying that he teaches people to journal and get so much pushback on it because people are, I'm too busy. I can't take the time to do that. But I'm sure you've heard this, if you plan out your week, and I know a lot of you probably already do this, but if you plan out your week, like an hour of planning is worth 8 hours of action. Well, journaling and reflection and quiet time is the same thing. It actually saves you time in the long run because you're going through, especially reflecting and looking back. You're going through what you did and now figuring out better ways and new ways. And then the last one on the bottom is, kind of more structured way to do it. Maybe you answer a couple of questions, just to look back. I know in my planner that I share with my clients, I have certain questions that they answer. I do encourage you to do the other two, but if you're not going to, at least answer a couple of these questions, whether it's at the end of the day, the end of a project, the end of the quarter, the week, however you want to do it. I like to do it daily and some of the others. All right, tell me your favorite mode of reflection. Which one of these do you use? Do you use all three? Do you use one of them? Do you use two of them? Do you use something totally different? Let me know in the chat below. All right, think about a recent challenge that you faced and reflect on what you learned from it. Drop it below. I would love, even if you can't do it right now, because we're going to move on, but I would still love for you to come back to this point or just to the stream and give us an example, because your lessons, remember, are going to help somebody else. So how can you help somebody else today? It's like a smile, right? Whenever you can smile at somebody else, you don't know what that smile will do, what kind of day they were having before they got your smile. So same thing here. Come back here, change somebody else's day, give them a way to look at something. Maybe you found a great flip on it and you found a great way to change that or flip the script or whatever it is. I want you to put it in the chat so other people can learn from it too. All right, interconnectedness. Interconnectedness. This is so important. This is the picture. On the right is my mommy. On the left is my grandmother. And in the middle is my bonus daughter. She's way bigger than that now. But anyway, interconnectedness. Where do you get your emotional support? And mine definitely was my mother for years and years and years. And that's probably one of the reasons a little bit of spiraling afterwards, because she was my biggest emotional support. And then I lost my dad. So you can imagine. Where do you get yours? What do you look for? So informational. Maybe you have a mentor that you go to. Maybe you have a coach. Yes, I absolutely love coaching for so many different reasons. But one of the things that I love is aha. When I can see somebody get an aha moment, or they have found their voice and they do a total pivot, I know that it's because I have been moving them and pushing them to get clear on who they are and what they're all about. And people do this after years of doing one thing and not doing it great, but feeling like they have to be there. That happens. That happens. And back when I did a lot of, businesses, a lot of the time, it was more of they never figured out, who they were and what they're all about. So they needed me to come in there and tell them, hey, you got to have a landing page, kind of important, right? So maybe you have a mentor. Maybe you do, bottom right, some networking, or you have a mastermind. So this is where other people are going to help you get advice. You're going to start seeking advice. Maybe it's from podcasts or books or something else you use. If you've read Think and Grow, I'm looking at my book. If you've read Think and Grow Rich, you know that, he has a board of advisors, and they're not necessarily sitting in your living room. The board of advisors could be in your head. They may be dead people. They may be people that you probably will never meet, or maybe will never meet. It can be anybody. That's your board of advisors. And then you're going to seek advice from them. What advice would they give you? You could use that in this instance. And then instrumental. All right, so this takes it another step. This is support from somebody else. We, as solo entrepreneurs, we do this way too late. How quickly can you get the big picture, VA? How quickly can you get support from a VA in? I mean, what if you started with 4 hours a week? What could you give somebody for 4 hours a week? Remember, if they take 4 hours a week off of your plate, that means that you are spending 4 hours a week doing routine tasks that you don't need to be doing. Now you've opened up 4 hours a week. What could you do with 4 hours a week? People build whole businesses on 4 hours a week. Let's go. What could you do? So much. So the top right and bottom, the top right is somebody giving you a check. That's like maybe a bank, and the bottom is money, money, money. So maybe bringing money into your business is instrumental, right? Hiring people, outsourcing, whatever it is that you need to do in your business. And these are more instrumental ones for you as coaches and entrepreneurs. In a brick and mortar, it could be, more equipment or a lot more physical things. For us, maybe it's more tools or something. If you get certain tools, will that speed up your productivity? That could be instrumental, and spending the money on that is now an investment. All right, who are your go-to people when facing challenges, and how do they help you bounce back? So if you're journaling, journal about that. If you're brave, write it in the chat below. I want to know who your go-to people when you face challenges, and how do they help you bounce back? My mom used to say, Erika, you have your entire life, you will have very few friends, and you should be able to count them on one hand. The rest of the people are all acquaintances, right? I love that. And I don't know why, but I think that it's true. We have those go-to people, whether they're your go-to friends that you can count on one hand, or maybe they're your go-to advisors, coaches, whatever. So who are they, and how do they help you bounce back? And my guess is you can count them on one hand. And it doesn't mean you have to have the same person for everything, right? You might have your emotional support. Maybe you have a best friend, your mom, who is it, your husband, your wife, whatever. Who is it that you go to for that emotional support? Who is it that you go to for that advice? And coaches, I know that in our world, entrepreneurs, coaches, athletes, any high performer, more than likely has more than one coach at any given time. And you're like, what? If you don't, you're like, what? Why would you? because you may have a business growth coach. I can help you overall in your entire business. I can help you with your marketing. I can dial it in, but somebody like me can help you keep growing along the way. So you might have a coach like me for the long haul. And then you might hire a TikTok coach for specific TikTok stuff, right? I'm not going to get, all down into the nitty gritty on the TikTok with you. I'm going to talk about the overall strategy of your business, your brand, and how you're going to present yourself. But a TikTok coach might have those tips and tricks that, I don't spend the time on. So you might have, if TikTok is your goal right now, you might also have a TikTok coach. You may also have a productivity coach, which I talk a lot about with my clients. I talk about time management, productivity, because it's important to me, but maybe you have an extra one. Maybe you have a business growth coach that doesn't do productivity, and I happen to, but maybe not all do. Maybe you know that to be more productive, you need more energy, which means you need to lose weight, eat better, something like that. So maybe you have a health and nutrition coach. Maybe you have a nutrition coach, and maybe at the gym, you've got a weight training coach. So there are a lot of different coaches that we can have in our lives for our go-to people. And I'm talking about, coaches that you're paying, but maybe they're your go-to people again are your emotional people. So whatever it is, write them down. Who are those people? When do you go to them? And how do they help you bounce back? Maybe chat one of them and thank them for being that person in your life. All right, diversify experiences. One of my favorite words, experience. I think making everything an experience. Hopefully a happy one and not like a chaos like at the beginning of my thing one, but diversify your experiences. How can you have different experiences? Again, if you're like me, you love what you do. You're passionate about it. And I could do this all day long, every day, and I have to pull myself out of it. I have to force myself sometimes to go out and have different experiences. But different experiences are great for creativity, for ideas, for building resilience, which is what we're talking about, right? Why are different experiences great? Let's see what I went into here. For your growth mindset. So we talked about this several episodes ago, if you want to go back and watch it, but we need to work on our growth mindset, but experiences can help you do that. Okay, so let me give a couple of examples here. So I have a small language school that I started a while ago. And one of the things that I pushed when I first started the language school, and I don't so much do this anymore because it's not a big focus and it takes a lot of time. But when I first started the language school, I really pushed group classes as opposed to one-on-one. I made more money if they did one-on-one. However, I see the benefit of group classes because of other people's experiences. Your vocabulary is based on your world, your experiences. But if you have other people who have different jobs, different lives, different hobbies, and they like different things and they do different things, you're changing because of them. And that's what the power of diversifying your experiences does. It broadens your vocabulary. It broadens your creativity. It makes you think about other things from different perspectives, different ways to look at things. Oh my God, yeah, totally. In this area, they wouldn't do this at all. And because I geek out on marketing and business, I like to look at, for example, ads in another business. If I'm helping you do your ads for coaching, I'm always looking at ads in other businesses and other industries. Why? Because what they're doing may be working really well in that industry and nobody in our industry is doing it. How can I bring that into our industry and change it up and move it towards what you're doing? For me, those experiences help me stay relevant and ahead of the crowd, ahead of the others, or however you want to look at it. but it also keeps things exciting. You know, we are very chaotic. I don't know. I can't think of a word right now, but we are very, we like a lot of different things in our world, and you want to be strategic about the experiences that you do. But example, if you love skiing and you decide that's going to be a priority in your life, you're going to take time, you know, maybe it's winter skiing. Maybe every winter you're going to take time and you're going to really dive into skiing. And you're like, God, I don't know if I can take the time away from my business. I can almost bet you that you will be more productive in the time when you are in your business and more creative. Why? Because you're doing something else, different experience that also makes you creative. It's something that you love, that you're passionate about. So think about those things, do them strategically, and then maybe sit down and do a little reflect afterwards and see, you know, maybe once you figure out, okay, skiing definitely does this for me, I'm going to do more of that. But maybe, you know, you don't know what does it for you. So maybe you are diversifying your experiences, and you should always be, even if skiing does it, still diversify and do some other things. You know, maybe it's, you know, going to a new conference. Wow, right? That's a different experience, a live as opposed to a Zoom. Totally different experience. Whatever it is, you can do all of that. All right, reframing fear. This kind of goes back to the other one we were doing, but this is a little bit of a different one. So what if I can't engage the group effectively? What if the participants don't find value in the sessions, or worse, leave negative feedback? I might ruin my reputation and lose clients. And do you see that little spin on the top? We can get going. Can we not? Tell me if you've ever done a spiral where it's like, we can get going. You know, you can keep adding to this list over and over and over and over and over. You've got to reframe that. You know, we go back to our limiting beliefs, or at least the belief and the versus fact. This is, you know, what ifs is not, definitely not fact. It hasn't even happened yet. So we are what I like to call pre-being, B-I word, I-N-G. That's what I like to call pre-B-I-I-N-G, because it hasn't even happened yet. Why are we so worked up about this? So imagine this. I go live every Thursday. If I start freaking out now about going live next Thursday because I might have the same disaster I have had today and on Monday and maybe last Thursday, or Tuesday I went live. What if I start worrying about it now until next Thursday? That is not effective for me. If I worry about it enough to actually say, let me take some action. I know, like I told you before, I've got to fix this. This is a priority for me. I'm going to figure it out. That's different. That is not, I'm no longer fearful. I'm no longer what ifing, you know, worried that nobody's ever going to see it. You know, big deal. I'm going to download it and I'll upload it. You know, it's over. So what is it that you can do? Reframing fear. Yes. You see that? Yes. So I already felt better once I moved into action. Just that. If you can snap yourself out of it and move, take a step in the forward direction, that in and of itself will help you. So this is the reframing. Even if the first few sessions aren't perfect, I'll gain invaluable insights into group dynamics, receive direct feedback to refine my approach, and develop new skills that can enhance my coaching practice. I'm having some issues that quite possibly some of my clients might have. I am going to have a fix. I had a fix, and now my fix isn't working anymore. So I'm going to have a new fix for the fix. But because I've gone through that, and I'm going through that, I can fix it and now help somebody else do it. So yes, it's a win. Yes, it's an opportunity for a good thing. All right, practical tips for embracing the challenges. And that's what I just said. Take those negatives and turn them into opportunities. I have a new training I can now do, you know, maybe a mini training, but I can do a quick mini training on, hey, if you're having Zoom, you know, issues going live in your thing, you can now do this. And I haven't even done the one on Restream yet, but let's figure out. And then I'll do it. All right. If you want to copy that training, you let me know. If you're not having these issues, zero stress. Don't give it yourself anxiety worrying about issues you don't have. All right, step 1, set manageable goals. I am all about dreaming big. I am all about shooting for the moon. Stars, whatever it is. I'm all about that. However, we want goals that we can manage, goals that we can meet. So if you want to make your goals way, way, way bigger, that's okay. As long as what you're doing on a daily basis or weekly basis, you're meeting, so you're not beating yourself up over it, right? You don't want to make them too easy. You want to make them challenging, but manageable. I clicked on accident. Step 2, seek support. Again, go back. If you need a coach, if you need a mentor, if you need that emotional support, let people know, hey, I'm doing this thing and I need you guys to rally me. I need you to be around me. I need you to chat me every morning. So one of my girlfriends loves like fitness and exercise and stuff. She's actually not a coach. And we meet every Friday for tea. And so we decided, all right, she's going to start chatting me. She's I have some other coaches that are clients of mine also, but she's my support system that is going to chat me on a daily basis and say, hey, did you do that workout? Hey, how'd you eat today? That type of thing. So seek support. Don't go it alone. Step 3, celebrate success. Yes, yes, yes. And I am celebrating. I have been tracking my food for tomorrow will be 2 weeks, and I have lost weight last week, way more than I thought. And this week again, I was shooting for 1 pound a week, and last week I lost 3. Granted, at the beginning, we all know it's way faster and easier, but that's okay. I'm celebrating. And this week I should lose, I don't know, definitely 1 or 2, maybe 3. We'll see. All right, celebrate that success. Step 4, reflect and learn. All right, reflect. So I'm going to reflect back on these 2 weeks and see what's been going great. I have been logging my food every single day. Keeper. There were 1 or 2 days when I went a little bit over. I can look back and say, hey, these are the things I ate that day. So just so you know, I'm not taking anything away yet. I'm just logging it. And trying to stay like within a certain calorie frame that my little app told me to stay within. And I haven't felt hungry. I've been eating all day long, like I love to do. I haven't cut out my popcorn. For those of you that know, I love popcorn. I have cut back a little bit, but I also ate some sweets. And some days it was okay and it was within the calorie frame, and other days, I went with, like last Sunday, holy crap, I went way over. So on days like that, I'm looking back and I already reflected and figured out, okay, I can still have this, crazy, we never go out for breakfast. And we went on this like crazy brunch thing and I had everything. So I can look back and say, okay, if I did this again, I would order this and still be just as excited and happy and think I was, being bad and still love it and be way better within my, framework or whatever. So reflect and learn. What can you change as your cheats? What can you change? If we're talking about business, I got off on a tangent on diet and nutrition there, my focus, or one of. So if we're talking about business, how can you reflect on your week and say, hey, I was spiraling all week long. I need to get a handle on myself, on my schedule. That's one of my big focuses in my business right now is time management. And, yes, I do talk about it a lot, but it's something we need to look at because we're all out of it. All right. So what new experience could you pursue that might stretch your resilience muscles? What would stretch your anything, right? Anything that you have to gear up for. Anything is a great experience that would stretch your resilience muscles that is out of your comfort zone. So I haven't even said this out loud. I am planning to have a retreat here in Panama. Drop me a retreat if you would be interested in doing that. And what I'd love for it to be is a combination of Business, obviously. So business, a little bit of like relaxation, yoga, meditation type stuff, and stepping out of your comfort zone. And I have a couple of ideas for here in Panama, and I'm going to do it so that I'm out of my comfort zone too. So I have a couple of ideas, but anyway, if you'd be interested in a retreat in Panama, let me know. It should be an amazing experience. You know, I'm all about experiences, so it will be like a Mac Daddy. Let's go. All right, gratitude attitude. We are BRIDG. If you don't know the word yet, you're crazy, but if you do, drop it. All right, today I am grateful for, if you're not doing this, and I know that we get off and stop doing it, and maybe we think it's cheesy and it doesn't work, but almost every great person will say that this works. And if you do it, it works. And I'm going to tell you a couple of reasons why. Have you ever been really, really, really grouchy and tried to smile? The next time you're just so mad at the world, at, stuff that happened, go stand in the mirror, set a 5-minute timer and smile. I guarantee you, 110% Erica style, you will not be grouchy when you're done. It is impossible to smile and be grouchy at the same time. It's just impossible. It's impossible. Smile more. You will be happier. Even when you force yourself to smile, I promise there's something about doing it that makes you happier. So gratitude attitude is the exact same thing. If we force ourselves, if that's what it comes down to, if we force ourselves to be gratitude, to be grateful for things, it's the same effect. It has that effect on us. I don't know what's called that, but it has it. It has that effect on us that nothing else can. So if you've had the worst day in the world and you do your today I am grateful for, forced, I don't care if it's forced, it will calm you down. It will help you see the light or anything else. I want to hear about it if you disagree, but I'm going to go with 110% on both of those. Gratitude, attitude, and smiles. I just think that it's not that difficult. We make it hard, but it's really not that difficult. It's because we don't give it a minute. How long would it take you to do 3 I am gratefuls? Let's go with 50 seconds. Don't say you don't have time. If you want to, you will. If you don't, you won't. Same thing with standing in the mirror the next time you're grouchy. I mean, forcing yourself to stand in the mirror when you're grouchy is not an easy task. I'll give you that. But if you did it, you would change your attitude. All right. We're finishing here. So why gratitude? Paradigm shift. Working those muscles, building the resilience. If you can make yourself do some of these things in the moment, you've heard of the things like I get grouchy. I'm going to take a time out and go stand in the bathroom and smile. Maybe you can't do that at the moment. Maybe my mom used to say, pinch your butt. Pinch your butt. I don't know if you ever heard this or if this was just my mom saying, but sit on your hands. Sit on your hands, right? What would that do? If all of a sudden you sat on your hands, if you're in the middle of an argument, well, number one, it's like an interrupter, right? It's an interrupter. You're going to all of a sudden take an action that's not whatever it was that you were focusing on. That in and of itself will help you. So if you're sitting down and you're in a meeting and somebody's doing something that you feel like yelling at them for, sit on your hands. Just think of something else, smile at them, or, go inside your head and start thinking about the last time you were at the beach, whatever it is. But shift, paradigm shift the way that you believe something So in the beginning, we want to start shifting those limiting beliefs. We want to start shifting those limiting beliefs. We want to start reframing those fears. And then we want to start figuring out what can we do in certain situations to bounce back faster. What is it that will work for you? Trial and error, that's okay. But we are building our resilience the more we can do that. And so gratitude is a very easy one that will help you build that resilience a lot faster. And remember, it's like going to the gym, stuff on my mind, going to the gym, right? You cannot work out one day and be fit. You cannot eat healthy one day and be like, all right, I'm over this, and still lose weight, or count calories, or whichever way you're going about it. Whatever. You cannot do that and think that it's just going to work. It's not. So how can you do some things to build the resilience in your world? And gratitude is a great way to do it. All right. So what are 3 things you're grateful for even amid challenges? So maybe it is that you woke up today, just being alive. Maybe you're at that point. Maybe it's, your family, your kids, your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend. Maybe it's your house. When I was my first corporate job, I worked at the Home Depot, and they had a program where we could go and tutor in underprivileged schools. And I'm going probably way over. Hold on a minute. Yeah, I'm hurrying. They had a program where we could go tutor in underprivileged schools, and it was so amazing. One of the times I was in there, it was Thanksgiving, and the kids this was like one of the worst areas in Atlanta. And the kids were supposed to write what they were grateful for at Thanksgiving. And they said things like having a roof over my head, having a bed, having electricity. So just think of, if you can't think of things you're grateful for, dig deep. You've got a lot to be grateful for. All right, empowerment through action. And I said that at the beginning. The minute you start taking action, you will feel better instantly. Instantly, I promise. So empowerment through action. Be proactive. Start thinking now. What types of things, what can you have in your toolbox? What can you have ready to go? The next time I get really, really angry, I'm going to sit on my hands. I'm going to stand up and go to the bathroom and start smiling at myself like a fool. Whatever it is, what can you do? This says give your team autonomy, but I'm talking about you. And I couldn't find anything else that said autonomy, and I wanted to remind myself of the word. So, autonomy, the capacity to act independently and make our own choices. You have to make your own choices. It is one of the things that we do, and one of the ways that we can build our own resilience is to make your own choices, have your own autonomy, and just decide. All right, so strategies for empowering action, small steps, baby steps. Think of one thing today that you're going to do. What is one of your limiting beliefs? Think of one action you can take when you have that limiting belief, or start reframing that limiting belief and saying it to yourself every day. That's a small step. Say it to yourself every day. It doesn't mean you're automatically going to be over it, but if you can say that reframe every day, you're going to end up believing it. Get super duper inside clear on your goals. Get clear on your goals. Know what they are. And we're talking about resilience here, but that's for life. But for resilience, how are you going to build your resilience? So what are your goals to build resilience? I want you to think of a plan for this, because we need to bounce back fast. One time I threw a baby rage about something, and I did not try that thing again for years. That is crazy, ridiculous. Don't ever do that. Bounce back. All right, strategies for empowering action. Pause and reflect. We talked about this a lot. We talked about how we should take a minute, right? Think about it. End of the day, end of the project, after the baby rage, whatever it is. And then what ideas can you come after you pause and reflect? Can you pivot? Can you change something? Can you look back and go, I could still have that crazy meal that I had. I'm just going to like not have this and minimize this, and it'll still be amazing. You know, how can I do this better? My plan A, B, C, and D, and E, I'm going to figure out a couple other ways to go live. All right. The psychological impact of taking control. Look at that first one. Woo woo, freedom. You're going to feel it in your bones. You're going to start smiling once you take control of it. It doesn't matter if it's working perfectly or not. Starting the thought of I'm now in control of it is going to help you feel relieved. Reduce stress. That's that middle one, right? Reduce stress. You're going to have a lot less anxiety and stress if you can figure out how to bounce back. Build your resilience. You're going to be happier. You're going to be less anxious, less stressed, and you're going to be able to solve a whole lot more problems and faster. All right, what did we build? Bridge. Belief systems, reflective practice, interconnectedness, have that crew ready to rock and roll, diversify experiences, even if it's within your business, but outside of your business especially, gratitude, attitude, and empowerment through action. Resilience is not just about weathering storms, it's about learning to dance in the rain and finding joy in the puddles along the way. I love that. Erica Leary, you know I love those Erica quotes. All right, coming next week, the engagement equation, building communities that thrive. We all need it. And this was a little quick whim I had last night and decided that I'm going to do this in 2 weeks. So 8K in 2 days, March 26th through 28th, 3-day KLT challenge. I'd love to see you there. Have an amazing rest of your day and let me know how you're building your resilience.